Hello and welcome back to the React to This podcast. I'm Marlena Shivo. What another crazy week in politics. I would love to talk about something else, but I feel like the only thing that's going on right now is what's happening in Washington, and it's happening quickly. So Matt Gaetz is out. Pam Bondi is in. Bye-bye, Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, which was one of the most controversial nominations, to say the least, has now dropped out. He has withdrawn his nomination for being the Attorney General because it was a distraction to this entire process, which is a good thing. And Trump has wasted no time and has now selected former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi to be the Attorney General. That guy goes through attorney generals faster than he goes through wives. The bigger question is, what's the vibe on the Democrat side with this new nomination? The folks over at MSNBC had a few things to say.
Occasionally, attorney generals try to behave like they are not the personal lawyer of the president of the United States. That is completely out the window. Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Wait. Hold up. Did he just suggest that the Democrats are fearful of competent women? I must have heard that wrong.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job.
No, I did not. That's what he said. And Brian Williams is taking shots, and he's taking real shots, not like the shots that he claimed were fired at him when he was in a helicopter or something, but that's beside the point. He went on Seth Myers to talk about how the Democrats tried to paint a certain picture about the economy and about the border. Well, take a listen.
To insist the economy's doing great. A 12-pack of Bounty is $40. Rich folks don't feel that. Poor folks already switched to Sparkle during the lockdown, and I think telling them that the NASDAQ is gangbusters is further insulting. It's insulting. I think the biggest unforced error of the Biden administration by far was the border. To tell people it's not a problem is insulting. For the working class to see incoming migrants getting welcome bags, debit cards, and motel rooms is probably insulting as well. So there's a lot of work to do.
I do not disagree with anything Brian Williams just said. However, I feel like it's a little bit of a pot calling the kettle black, even though I brushed off the whole narrative about Brian Williams lying about getting shot at. I'm bringing it up again because it is insulting to the American people when a reporter says something that is blatantly false. I know. That is par for the course these days. But I feel like in 2015, especially at a place like NBC, it felt like there was more gravitas. It felt a little bit more authentic. The reporting felt a little bit more old school than what we see today. But Brian Williams was bringing some fake news back in 2015. After Sarah McBride, the U.S. representative-elect from Delaware, and also the first transgender woman to win the seat, Nancy Mace, the Republican representative from South Carolina, was not mincing words about McBride's win at all. She didn't even pretend to be unbiased. She had one issue, and she went full throttle on that issue.
So the question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from using...
100% yes.
My question to you is...
And it doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills.
You have said that it was created in response to Congresswoman-elect McBride.
100%.
But should legislation be created targeted at one specific person?
It doesn't mention anyone in the legislation, but
you've said it was aimed at her.
No, I have said it's a result of this. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I'm not going to stand for it. And the Speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I'll be ready with a motion, a privileged motion to force a vote on this. This is not okay.
Elvis. Let me be. Keep that penis fall from me. Oh, wait. No. That was pelvis, right? Because Elvis. Okay.
And by the way, I'm getting death threats from men pretending to be women. Why is it that these crazy people, the insanity, the radical left, are willing to kill women over a man's right to be in a women's restroom?
Speaker Johnson has said he wants to treat every new member with the words dignity and respect. Forcing this congressperson to go into a male restroom, is that dignity and respect?
Forcing women to share private spaces with men is not dignity and not respect. And I'm absolutely going to stand in the way of anyone who thinks it's okay for a man to be in our locker room, in our changing rooms, in our dressing rooms, in women's bathrooms. And in fact, if you agree with that, you're crazy, because that's not okay. It's not okay.
I love that. She's like, and if you think that, you're crazy. You're crazy. If I were that reporter, I'd be like, I didn't say anything. I'm here to report on the story. I'm asking you the questions. I have no opinion about penises and women's spaces. I would have loved it if he said that. He should have said that. Give me that reporter's name. I need to script him. House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about the bill that Nancy Mace is proposing.
Elect Sarah McBride, a man or a woman?
Look, I'm not going to get into this. We welcome all new members with open arms who are duly elected representatives of the people. I believe it's a command that we treat all persons with dignity and respect. We will. And I'm not going to engage in silly debates about this.
He would not answer questions regarding the bathroom situation that would take place on Capitol Hill.
There's a concern about the uses of restroom facilities and locker rooms and all that. This is an issue that Congress has never had to address before. And we're going to do that in a deliberate fashion with member consensus on it. And we will accommodate the needs of every single person.
But interestingly enough, he alluded to the fact that this is completely new and it's not something that they've ever dealt with before, which begs the question, what has Rachel Levine been doing all this time? I'm sure she's not holding it until she gets home. I will say, though, that Mike Johnson is pretty politically correct. I mean, by today's standards, he said all the right things. I mean, when you're dealing with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump and everybody else screaming and calling people names and making noises during State of the Union speeches. I mean, he kind of rings of like an old school politician, which makes me feel like he might not make it. His vibe doesn't feel like Trump's brand to me, but I guess we'll see. Sarah McBride did not take Nancy Mace's words sitting down. No pun intended. She issued her response on the platform X, saying, "This is a blatant attempt from the far right-wing extremists to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing. We should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, healthcare, and childcare, not manufacturing culture wars. Delawareans sent me here to make the American dream more affordable and accessible, and that's what I'm focused on." Good for her. But my advice to you, Sarah McBride, when you start your job and you need to use the ladies' room, I would check under the stalls first. You don't want to get maced. And on the short list of I'm leaving the country when Trump gets elected, I give you Ellen DeGeneres. That's right, Ellen and her wife, Portia de la Rossi, have moved to the UK and are, quote, not returning to the US.
I got kicked out of show business.
That was Ellen from her latest and what she describes as her last stand-up special. During that show, Ellen also explained what she's been doing with her free time.
I got chickens. I love them so very much. Chickens are the best bird to have at home, I think.
Ellen left the limelight about 2 years ago, so why the move now? A spokesperson for the comedian said the primary reason is because Donald Trump won the election. And there you have it. It's exit stage left for Ellen. Make that far left. Now we finally have an answer to the old question, why did the chicken cross the pond? Wait,